the world a different way. Now, I don't know about you, but I grew up with bats and dinosaurs, you know, all this stuff that 3 and 5-year-olds are really into. But as my son pointed out to me, the internet changes things. If you take a bat and turn him upside down, he looks like a total badass, right? If you take 3 bats and turn them upside down, it's like they're at a cocktail party. And I show you this because from now on, you're never going to look at bats exactly the same way, are you? And it's really expensive to not be able to see. And the difference between me and them is simple. They saw what was happening. I didn't, right? It was fuzzy to me. And the reason it was fuzzy is because they had a blank slate. They said, what could I build? I said, what do I know how to build? I know how to build books, so I'll make a book. They said, what is this for? And all of a sudden, it doesn't matter if you live in California or New York or Lithuania. All of a sudden, the rules are completely different. Before we can understand that, we have to understand the old rules. The old rules were invented by this guy, the most important person of the 20th century, by far, Henry Ford. Henry Ford made us all wealthy. Henry Ford invented the middle class, right? How did he do this? He said to the workers in Detroit, men, because he was only talking to men, if you're making 50 cents a day as a machinist, I will pay you $5 a day to come work for me. How could that be? How could he afford to give people a 10x raise? The answer, as Peter pointed out an hour ago, is simple. The assembly line. Come work for me, do what I say. Do what you did yesterday, do it faster and cheaper. I can easily pay you $5 a day, whether you're making cars or chocolate or anything else, because all I'm going to do is crank up the assembly line. All I'm going to do is make it go a little bit faster, right? And so, this idea of the factory dominates our understanding of the world. The idea of the factory, the gatekeeper, if you get this job, if you get on the inside, if you do what you are told, you've got it made. For a good reason. Because for a century, for our parents and their parents, that's how it worked. And the goal is to make the factory bigger. This is the River Rouge plant. So big that if you start walking at one end, it takes you all day to get to the other. Henry Ford hired Ford shepherds to raise Ford sheep, to make Ford wool, to create Ford fabric, to put in Ford cars, because if you make it bigger, it's better. Right? And here's the model. A few guys at the top, royalty with their private jets, the fancy guys, telling everybody else what to do. Because that's what you want. That's how the factory works, right? We're talking now about industrialism, not capitalism. Industrialism is not about taking risk. Industrialism is about eliminating risk. Industrialism is about scale. Industrialism is about squeezing all the juice out and changing the culture if you have to make another nickel. Right? And something fundamental is changing, and we need to understand what is changing as we end the industrial era. To understand that, we have to understand something about marketing. So I need 1 minute to give you the Seth Godin abbreviated history of marketing. It starts here, this building, Wedgwood. Right? If you have a mother-in-law, you've probably seen Wedgwood china and pottery. It looks like this. Josiah Wedgwood invented direct marketing. He invented the retail sales force. He invented paying people on commission. He invented employee health insurance. He was a fabulously successful entrepreneur hundreds of years ago. When he died, he was the richest man in the world. He left so much money to his children that his grandson, Charles Darwin, had enough money to change the world again. But what Josiah Wedgwood did once he got the factory up and running was he realized he had a problem. And the problem was not enough people to buy everything he could make. So what does that mean? You hire an ad guy, right? You figure out how to start doing advertising, right? You figure out how to start using annoying characters to interrupt as many people as you can, as often as you can, so they'll buy more stuff. And so advertising became marketing, and marketing became advertising to the masses. But then some problems start to show up, right? The first thing that happens is you come up with a clever gimmick, like putting a bird on a cover of a book, and suddenly other people start copying your gimmick. And the next thing you know, your advertising gimmick doesn't work so well anymore because everybody's doing it, right? I could be here all day showing you pictures of bird books. It keeps going. All right, that's not enough to tell you about marketing, so I want to tell you a few other things. One other thing you can do is you can put babies in your ads, right? Babies in cigarette ads or cola ads. If that doesn't work, wrap the babies in saran wrap. If that doesn't work, use triplets, because that's always a crowd pleaser. The point is, just like we saw when I was talking about social media, you got to put on a show. You got to dance ever faster. You got to annoy ever more people. You got to put ever more ideas out there if you want to do this advertising thing. Sometimes it doesn't work so well. Sometimes it gets you in trouble. But the reason we do it is because our boss keeps telling us a four-letter word over and over and over again. She keeps saying the same four-letter word, more. That once the factory is up and running, they say to the marketers, get more attention, get more shelf space, get more sales. This leads to what I call the TV industrial complex. Right? Step number one, buy a bunch of ads. Those ads get you donations and customers and patients and voters and whatever you're looking for. And then if you're very smart and very diligent, you buy more ads. And so around and around and around it goes. You buy attention and then you make enough money to buy more attention. And if you've been following my work for a little while, you know where this is going. And where it's going is epic disaster. Because we can't buy any more attention. It's not for sale anymore. So if you ever say to me or to anyone else, all I'm trying to do is get the word out about what I'm doing. I want to get the word out about my conference. I want to get the word out about my company. You're going to fail because you can't get the word out anymore. It doesn't work that way. Look, these are all average products for average people, except maybe Pop-Tarts. But all these other products are average. Why? Because if you want to reach the masses, if you want to reach everyone, you better make something everyone wants to buy. And so we've got this challenge, which is all this noise and all this clutter. Look, this picture's really fuzzy. I had a bad cold when I took it. But see that blue box in the upper middle center? That brand manager spent $100 million interrupting me. $100 million on coupons and shelving allowances and TV ads and magazine ads. Why? So that when I went to the deli, when I was sick, to buy medicine, I would buy her medication. Here's the problem. I don't have a pain reliever problem. You don't have a pain reliever problem. We all solved our pain reliever problem 20 years ago. We buy the generic or the yellow box. We're not looking at the ads and saying, ooh, I wonder if someone's got a new pain reliever. And that's exactly your company's problem. It's exactly your nonprofit's problem. It's exactly your candidate's problem. You're busy yelling at people that you've got a solution that they don't even think they have a problem they're trying to solve. And so they're going to ignore you. And the bad news continues. Good news number one, 4 words. What the internet does, what this new world we live in does, is it lets us treat different people differently. You never used to be able to do that, because one ad reached everybody. Let me show you what I mean. You may have seen one of these. It's called the normal distribution. It's a statistical outline of where people are. And if you look at that box in the middle, that's most people, 93%. In every marketplace. Those are the normal people. That's why it's called the normal distribution. And the people on the outside are weird. You could ignore them in the old days because there weren't very many. But now, drip by drip, day by day, the curve is melting. Now there's more people on the outside of the curve than on the inside of the curve. Art. Not painting, but art. Right? Here's Marcel Duchamp's nude descending a staircase. He did it in 1917, he caused a riot. That's art. Pablo Picasso, everyone can agree that's art. Jackson Pollock, certainly art. Here's the interesting thing about Jackson Pollock. Jackson Pollock had a brother. His brother, Charles, was not an artist. He was a painter. He painted just like his teacher, Thomas Hart Benton. You have never heard of Charles Pollock, because we didn't need someone to paint copies of Thomas Hart Benton paintings. No, we need artists, right? Joseph Boyd's an artist, William Shakespeare an artist. When Marcel Duchamp put an upside-down urinal into an art exhibit to make a statement, he was making art. The second person to put a urinal in was a plumber. And that's the decision you've got to make before you leave here today, right? But there's a village in China, a village called Dauphin, where they paint 1/3 of all the oil paintings in the world every day, right? The Mona Lisa, Van Gogh, Chuck Close. You can buy the Mona Lisa for $29, but it's not $29 because it's not worth $29. It's worth $1. Because it's not the Mona Lisa. It's not art. It's just a copy. Just a copy erased to the bottom. We have to ask ourselves a simple question about our work. What's it for? Who are we trying to change? What impact are we trying to make? All great businesses make change. All great organizations make change. Michael Schrage has written brilliantly about this. What does Harley Davidson actually do for a living? It is not make motorcycles. What they do for a living is turn disrespected outsiders into respected insiders. That's what they sell.
Hello, my name is Eugene and I'm from Russia. The question is, to what extent are the rules and ideas of marketing which we're discussing now are universal? Or is there any dependence on the country, nationality, or the people which represent the market?
Okay, so I am no expert on the mores around the world. I don't pretend that I am. Here's what I know. Human beings have been around for hundreds of thousands of years. Mass marketing has been around for 125 years. We invented mass marketing because mass marketers wanted it. We invented newspapers so there would be a place to put newspaper ads. The only reason there's TV is because there were TV ads ready to run on TV. The internet is the first medium in 50 years that wasn't invented to make marketers happy. That's not why it came to be. So marketers are freaking because on one hand, YouTube looks like free TV ads. Go for it. On the other hand, if you want to buy 10 million eyeballs, you can't. Not for sale from anybody. So, will the internet change the media consumption in every country in the world? I think that's clear. It will. Is it changing it all equally? No. Right? There are people I know who live 2,000 miles from my house who don't use the internet on a regular basis. Right? It's going to take a generation for that to happen. But I also know that the #1 show on television in the United States right now would not have ranked in the top 30 25 years ago. That's how fast it breaks when it breaks. I know that every newspaper in the United States except for 3 will be bankrupt within 5 years. That's for sure. Now, does that mean that newspapers are going to disappear in Liechtenstein? I don't know, but probably one day soon. The real question for me is not that. The real question is, are there people who want to hear from you? And if there are, would you both be better off if you got rid of the intermediaries? And I think the answer to that is clearly yes. That if you don't have to go buy ads every single time you want to reach people who want to hear from you, you could just whisper straight to them, that's better for everyone. And so that is the fuel that is going to move this. But yeah, when I was in Turkey, there's no question the cell phone companies in Turkey should keep running all the ads they're running, because it's working. Will it work 5 years from now? It's really hard for me to imagine that it would. So then the question is, what should they do between now and then? I think the answer is they need people who want to hear from them. People who will subscribe to getting an email every week, or a text every month, or something that they look forward to. Because if you build that asset now, you'll have it when you need it. If you wait, then you'll be like the book publishers in the US. Too late.